Yeah, he sneezed and his flag fell out.
My favorite is Ed Hockley. Before I give the call, I'm going to show everybody my muscles. I love Ed Hockley. We will no longer accept returns on open soup.
That does not mean that you can let your children sit on the floor and rub cake into the carpet, which is what I sat there watching them doing.
Little bastards. You don't want anybody named Jennifer touching your feet. Get your angle hands off me.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
Ah, yes. Season 3 continues to smash through boundaries.
Yeah, we got out a little bit last night to downtown Towson, which was completely dead.
We did get some good sushi there. That was good.
Yeah, I think it's just that when the colleges aren't around, it's just like, tumbleweeds blowing down York Road.
Yeah.
They'll be back soon enough, causing havoc.
That beer selection made me cry.
Oh, sushi places never have good beer selection.
Not even wine. It's terrible. We had to
No.
get wine.
No. And in other news, I got an email from Home Depot asking me to review my purchase.
Oh, yeah, the rocks.
Which was a bag of rocks. I didn't know exactly what to say here. I was like, yeah. I could tell they were rocks because of the see-through plastic bag. And I could tell by the feel that they were not packing peanuts by, as I struggled to get it on the flatbed to pay for it.
Could have done without the hole in the bag.
Could have done without the hole in the bag.
There's a guy who calls podcasts that would love to review your rocks. That's on another show, though.
Yeah. I wanted to say, yeah, these are the rockiest rocks I've ever rocked.
You could say, like, skippability if you're skipping stones, something like that. I'm really stretching here.
If worst comes to worst, you could just say, I want a rock. See what I did there?
So they announced the new Bloodstock lineup for next August in the UK. It includes Clutch, Amon Amarth, Infected Rain, Rotting Price, and Hellripper. So there's a couple of alumni on there. And there's a new Bambi Thug song.
Oh, yeah.
So in other news, take a guess at how much plastic surgery, how many procedures do you think Joan Rivers had in her lifetime?
26.
According to Wikipedia, Joan Rivers supposedly had 348 cosmetic operations in her lifetime.
There's not that many body parts. Do you have some done?
I don't think I've even trimmed my toenails that many times in my life. I think Michael Jackson and Cher both combined had less work done than that.
That's like, hey, I'm going to stop off by the store, and I'm also going to hit my plastic surgery office on the way home.
Maybe the guy moved in. Maybe the doctor just lived there. I mean, she could just say, after brunch, how about, you trim off these skin tags before I go to yoga class? A shot of Botox to kick the day off, 348 cosmetic operations.
I always think it's a cautionary tale, that Kanye's West mother died during a cosmetic procedure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Crazy. That's always scared me.
Yeah. Well, we did some more research on plastic surgery. And where did we dig up as the world capital of plastic surgery?
I would have guessed the United States.
I would have guessed Hollywood.
Or, Hollywood or maybe even England, although they don't seem to care much about certain things. But I was shocked to find it is South Korea. That is the plastic surgery capital of the world. Yeah. 1 in 5 Korean women have reportedly had plastic surgery.
That's where the phrase comes from, pretty as a South Korean. How many times we've all uttered that leaving the dry cleaner,
Perhaps it's also the ancient Chinese secret.
I guess the Vietnamese went for the mani-pedi market and the Koreans stuck with plastic surgery and dry cleaning. You ever notice when you're getting a pedicure or a manicure, it doesn't feel right unless they're yammering about your nasty toes in Vietnamese all around you? You don't want anybody named Jennifer touching your feet. Get your angle hands off me. They have cornered the market.
On the other side, like I was saying, English people are noted for bad teeth, dry humor, complaining about the weather, and what was the last thing? Oh, imperialism.
Yeah, conquering the world. So
I think they've toned down on that in recent years.
yeah, I think so. Then there's Indian people are largely known for customer service, giving out black plastic bags at liquor stores, buying up all the curry, owning convenience stores, and eating all the mangoes. Allegedly, Indian people have a real weakness when it comes to mangoes. I don't know.
Oh, it's stereotypical. It's so true.
Yeah.
But Australians are known for reinventing Outback Restaurant, I believe. Isn't that what their fame is? And throwing shrimp on the Barbie like they're boomerangs while swilling Foster's lager, which I don't think anyone does anymore.
Sad. I was talking to my brother on the phone the other night, and we realized that 100% of our knowledge of Australia comes from the Crocodile Dundee movies.
God.
That's sad. Yeah. Well. Then there's Canada.
Yeah. In Canada, every single person starting at the age of 2 plays hockey.
Yep.
I think they just put skates on you as soon as you can walk.
And there's a maple syrup consortium.
Yeah. And, they basically live at Tim Hortons.
Their sandwiches are supposedly to die for. So,
Instead of gossiping around the water cooler, you got to go gossip at Tim Hortons.
I've shifting gears for a moment. I've always been amused by signs in parks, parking lots, and stores that basically say, "Watch your children." It's just for them to have taken time to make these signs and laminate them, they must have just had problem after problem with children. Like do not let the children climb the fence, stay with your child at all times, do not let children hang off the side of the car, that sort of thing, right?
We used to always say when I worked for a restaurant, we would have super bad behavior if, say, they rented like the main dining room to have a big party, like a engagement party or gala event of some sort, that
Right.
they felt like they rented that room. That does not mean that you can let your children sit on the floor and rub cake into the carpet, which is what I sat there watching them doing.
Little bastards. Yeah.
They were right literally at the doorway. Everyone was stepping over them. I had to ask the parents if they could please move their children.
I mean, are these parents just sitting around playing Candy Crush on their phones and letting their offspring run amok in the store? Please do not allow children to sword fight with toilet brushes. Please do not allow children to set up an obstacle course in the housewares department. Please do not allow children to snorkel in the lobster tanks. Speaking of which, you can almost judge the mood of the store's ownership by the number of handwritten signs the management sticks up, like minimum $10 purchase for credit cards, or we don't accept personal checks, that sort of thing. There was this little mom and pop store a couple miles up the road when I lived out in Bel Air. They had the best signs, and they were everywhere. Limit 5 snowblowers per customer.
Okay.
Layaway is not available for deli meat.
Yeah.
Minimum $5 purchase required for restroom key. How bad you got to go? We will no longer accept returns on open soup. God.
Someone was really, opening
They
up
had to make
of
a
worms.
sign. This is the last time.
Oh my God.
Okay. I'm going to talk about our feature interview this week.
Our feature interview this week is with Cody Daniels of the Texas-based black metal act Krigsgrav. We have a fascinating discussion about the history of this long-running moniker. Cody unveils the process behind their last couple of records, 2021's The Sundering and this year's incredible Fires in the Fall album. He also gets into some of his fascinating side products. Ever heard of the Argonauts? And we play a smashing round of blasphemy monikers, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's play a song. This is Krigsgrav with An Ever-Flowing Vessel.
One of my favorites.
Okay, let's talk about Patreon. Let's see, what am I going to do this week? I started digging through my old rare 7 inches. And so this week, I'm going to be reviewing Bible of the Devil, Blade of the Ripper Split, and a rare double 7-inch from a band from Michigan called Tyvek. Are these any good? I really have no idea, but I will rip them and review them for our Patreon page. So
And as an added bonus, I'm going to be doing a video showing you, despite Mark not wanting me to. He's very private about this. I'm going to show you a video of how to make refrigerator pickles.
as long as you don't give any away. Make your own fucking
no.
pickles. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the site is patreon.com/Snaggletooth Podcasts. For $6.66 a month. It unlocks all kinds of bonus content like we were just talking about. There's just pages and pages of it, and we really need your help.
Yeah, I mean, the hair dye alone for this budget is going
I
off
know.
the rails.
What are you gonna do?
And when you help us, you also help rock artists that we're getting behind.
Absolutely.
A lot of them are underground, not all of them are, but it takes our interest and our time to delve into all of these wonderful bands, which once you're part of the Snaggle family, we will always have your back. So get over there. It's less than a cup of coffee if you go to Starbucks and get some crazy frappuccino, and you're helping support the arts.
Absolutely. So, okay, so let's talk about this week's Snaggle trip. Why don't you go ahead, Ben?
This week's Snaggle trip took us to We Rock the Spectrum in Forest Hill, Maryland, one of the coolest indoor playgrounds for kids of all ages and all levels of ability. They have all manner of equipment for kids to run, jump, climb, swing. For parents of special needs children, it's the perfect inclusive place for any kind of party or gathering. We talk with the owners, Nikki and Trey Wooten, and how they came to create such a cool playground.
Take it away. We are at We Rock the Spectrum in Forest Hill, Maryland, and we are with...
my name is Trey.
Okay. Trey, what's your last name?
Wooten.
Trey Wooten.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead. And you're going to ask some questions.
Really neat place here.
Sure is. Yeah.
Your website said you discovered, this kind of place on a vacation out of state.
Exactly.
Can you explain kind of how you found it and how you brought it back?
Yeah, so we are part of an international franchise. And so while we were on vacation traveling back from Mississippi, we took a detour way out of the way through Missouri. So we were traveling through, and we actually saw a billboard that said We Rock the Spectrum Kids Gym. We were like, hey, what's that? So of course, what do you do when you're looking for something? You pull out your phone, you start Googling to see what it is. So we did not actually go on location to see it. We just looked to see exactly what it was. And once we saw what it was, we knew that it's something we wanted to bring back to Harford County, Maryland. And so as soon as we started looking into it, to get all the details and so forth, it just wasn't quite the right time. This was back in 2017-ish, probably. And so it was probably a couple of years later before we went back into it again and said, you know what, let's pursue this dream again. And that second time of going back into it, boom, there it was, and everything just started falling really together for us.
Ironically enough, that's very similar to the Selfie Museum. They went south and found that there. And
Awesome.
Can I ask how you ended up in Missouri between
Yeah,
Maryland and geographically?
Yeah, it's kind of out of the way, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. So every time our family's Mississippi,
right.
So we would go down there a lot, and so but we always wanted to do an actual vacation besides saying with Mississippi on vacation.
Okay, right.
So we would always take different routes back home, and so that particular route we just went through like 7 different states to get back.
the scenic route.
The scenic
really
route,
scenic.
yes.
Okay.
and it paid off for you rather well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, it's a great idea. There are other locations that look like from the website, like across the country and even possibly international. Do you know how many locations are there?
Yeah, so here in Maryland, there's 3 of us now. We were the second location in Maryland, but the first location, unfortunately, is no longer there. Okay. So we were the first one to open up that's still here. There's another location located in Gaithersburg. There's another one located in Owings Mills. If you're looking for them, they're going to be called Baltimore, but it's actually located in Owings Mills. But there's actually about 150 locations around the United States right now, and probably about 40 to 50 more that I'll be preparing to open over the next several months. There's actually, like we said, international. We're located in 8 different countries as well. So it's a franchise that has grown expansively very quick. When we signed on in 2019, I would say in the United States, it was probably only about 40 to 50 locations. And you can see where we are just a few years later.
It's true. And it seems like from the news or whether it's focused on it, that autism kind of almost seems to be on the rise, or maybe it's just finally getting recognized.
Awareness.
So I think people are understanding, more that these places are needed.
Yeah. And one thing we want to keep in mind with our locations with We Rock is that even though we have the focus of the autism, we want to reach out to these families specifically. We're a place for all kids. We're a place of inclusivity. So we invite all kids, all abilities into our locations.
That's great. So we were looking on your website at your birthday party packages, and they were actually very reasonable.
Yeah.
We thought. Can you talk about some of the things that you offer at these parties?
Yeah. So and I do want to make note that every location is different when it comes to activities we offer, classes, birthday parties, etc. Here at Forest Hill, my wife and I, we are plain and simple. We want to make things easy for the family, but yet fun for everyone. And so with our birthday parties, you're literally just renting out the space. You have the entire place just to you and your group the entire time you're here. Typically our parties are about 2 hours in length. And so you have an hour and a half playtime, and then you go into our party room for the last half hour or so. Out here on the floor is strictly open play, free time. The kids are just doing what they want to do, having a good time. You'll notice swings and stuff all around us, even right here where we're sitting. A lot of the adults love to sit on the swings as well. And so you'll see moms and dads out here swinging while the kids are off doing other stuff too. It's a lot of fun. But here at Forest Hill, the only difference between our 3 birthday party packages is the number of kids who actually show up to the party. So we're not going to penalize you just because you invite some ones and they don't come. We only look at the ones who actually show up.
Oh, that's nice. So you don't have to get nailed down to a certain number. So the nonprofit company, My Brother Rocks the Spectrum, do they provide financial aid and assistance to families who need it?
Yeah, so My Brother Rocks the Spectrum is the nonprofit side of We Rock the Spectrum. Okay. And so that is handled through our corporate office, but if there is a family in the area that would like to come to We Rock, they can apply for a scholarship through our corporate office, and if they're awarded that scholarship, they're able to come to We Rocks as well. So every location does some type of fundraiser or a coin collection or something like that to help raise funds for My Brother Rocks the Spectrum as well. And so yeah, definitely want to push that the foundation is there, because we want to make sure that anyone who wants to come to We Rock can do so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. We were able to qualify for the autism waiver when my daughter was young. We wouldn't have. I don't know how we would have managed with her meds and all that stuff. So
exactly,
I know what it's like. The finances when you have an autistic child, it's very difficult.
And I know they struggled a lot with providers. As soon as you get somebody, they quit, and you got to start
or
all
it would be
the
like
way back
a
over.
college student, and then they would get the job, and you couldn't get upset because this is, by the way, the school. You finally got the job, but now you lost your best provider. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it looked like you had a lot of sponsors that helped out as well, from the Baltimore Ravens to Chick-fil-A. So what was the Creative Way one? It looked like you had a whole bunch.
Yeah, so the Creative Way was actually handled through the Baltimore location. So I'm personally not completely familiar with that one. Here in our area, we partner with a few different local food establishments, specifically Jarrettsville Creamery, Sonic, and Papa John's. And one of the things we do with them is on selected days when you come into play, with every paid admission, you get a coupon for something free from these places. And so that's kind of the way we handle things here at Forest Hill.
That's really great. That's awesome.
Well, this is Nikki Wooten, and she's going to answer some more of our itching, burning questions about We Rock the Spectrum. So, you're going to put me on the spot. What? I just like letting you handle everything. It's so much easier for me. So, can you talk about some of the struggles that you or the other families have had with kids on the spectrum not having a sensory friendly place to play?
Yeah, so again, I mean, that's kind of one reason, or a lot of the reason, that we felt the need to bring We Rock to Harper County. It's just the fact that we have a son. He just turned 19. He was like 12ish when we discovered We Rock, at least on Google, and so, he's if you will, high functioning, and so pretty much we always said just super ADHD with autistic tendencies and big emotions and all that kind of stuff, which a lot of times is hard when you go to a play, like to your average place, like not wanting to leave or getting in people's spaces when those kinds of things that I guess most neurotypical families don't have. Yeah, all kids will have their moments, but sure. we had a lot more moments, and just got like, and even our daughter just didn't like a lot of crowds and those things. So just the sensory overload of our family was hard to just do a lot of. And that's one reason we took trips, was both their birthdays are in the summer. So we would go to Mississippi for a couple of weeks and then make trips, do fun activities like Missouri. We go to Silver Dollar City and a couple other places. And that way for their birthdays, instead of worrying about parties and all those kinds of things, because that's why I kind of say it's ironic now, because we have a place that we throw lots of parties. But I think that's a desire though of ours, or one of the things was to be able to make it where it doesn't matter the ability of the kid, but they can all have fun. And whether it's 3 kids at the party or 25 kids at the party, that everybody's enjoying and having a special day. So but I mean, just a struggle. One of the biggest things is just finding the place where you feel comfortable. We always, like, our tagline for We Rocks is a place you never have to say I'm sorry. But I also like to add to that, and where grace is expected.
What a fun trip that was. I mean, can you tell how much fun we had? The place was so clean, so many cool things to do, really a special place. And the prices are great too. I mean, I remember my ex rented out the Arena Club for my daughter's Sweet 16. It cost more than like the gross national product of France. It was ridiculous. I would have loved to have had a We Rock the Spectrum type of place back then. All right. So it's thinking about movie directors. Okay. How cool is the director's chair? There aren't that many professions where you get a special chair with your name on it. Nobody else sit here.
How about, excuse me, you're in my chair. What does it have your name on it?
Actually, as a matter of fact, yes. Yeah. The CEO of a major corporation doesn't get one. Oh, he might get an engraved little desk plate or something, and then we just murmur about how pretentious he is.
I think the closest I ever got was the little plastic name tag with my year of service on it at where I worked for a department store.
Closest I ever got was a little subscription tag on the TV Guide. So
all that got was people walking up to me going, 9-year girl, great, I have 3,000 questions for you.
Yeah, right. You have to take that off. Yeah. The dentist gets the most awesome chair of all, and he never even gets to sit in it. Costs thousands of dollars.
Neither does your hairdresser, and she's got that cool spinny chair.
That's right.
Oh.
Even if you're an astronaut on the space shuttle, you just get the same old squeaky chair that anybody else gets. Sit down, Bob. You're not special.
Just think you're going to the moon and shit.
How do you think it came about, the name on the chair thing? I picture Stanley Kubrick is bitching to his wife. The nerve of that Peter Sellers sitting in my chair again. I had to stand for the whole shirt and pants scene. Honey, here's an idea. I think that could be.
It's something with that profession, though. I mean, even dressing rooms, they get their name on it. Even if it's just their dressing room for a month, they get their name on it. They get, their hands,
Star on the door.
The star on the door, you get your hands in the cement in front of the Chinese restaurant and your name. It's something to do with that profession.
Yeah. It's one of the only jobs where everybody waits for you to yell action or nothing happens, or cut and everything stops. The cable repairmen aren't lined up in their trucks waiting for the command to start their day. Like, gentlemen, start your trucks, go. Ready, set, bartend. I mean, this is one of the only places that you have that. I think referees would actually make good movie directors. They're equally commanding in their job. They blow that whistle, and it doesn't matter if you're a 300-pound linebacker. Play is over. They could even sit on the ball if they want play to stop. It's like, All eyes on me as I tell everyone in my special microphone what my decision is. Yeah, it's always so anticlimactic when they buzz around for 10 minutes and they go, there was no foul on the play. John fucked up, you know.
Yeah, he sneezed and his flag fell out.
My favorite is Ed Hockley. Before I give the call, I'm going to show everybody my muscles. I love Ed Hockley, you know. Super tight shirt, you know.
I would like to point out exactly what went on. It was that guy.
What would be really cool is if you combine the referee with the movie director. You could do cut, that's 10 minutes. Cruise's parachute not opening. Everybody grab a snack.
Let's go get a goddamn snack.
Let's get a goddamn snack. Yeah.
I always wanted, though, to be an America Cinema editor. You know, it's got to be a self-esteem booster when after you write your name, you're able to write ACE after. It's like, yeah, I kick ass. Ace. Ace that. Ace everything I do.
So the other day we were... All right. I'm sorry. All right. So we're watching this show the other... It's all gone. You get this stuff. So we were watching this show about cameras and surveillance cameras and like the woman that got snatched in the Walmart parking lot, and the police are going through hours and hours of grainy footage, and they're going through all the different departments in the store to see if maybe the stalker was following her. They can get a look at who killed her.
It's always so grainy in the parking lot. It's this black shadow, and then they got to go back into the store footage and try to see if they got a clear shot of his face.
Of
which
him
always takes
following
about
her. Yeah.
16 hours of watching footage.
It's got to think it's pretty dry stuff. You know, you think they ever go, wow, look at that, $199. That's a good price for that golf bag. Is that Under Armour? $3.99 for a Weber grill. We're never going to find this guy anyway. I'm going to head over there after work, pick that up. Yeah.
I overpaid for my face cream. Damn it, I have it on sale there.
Exactly right. Reminds me of another Sephora story, right? So, like every other warehouse, we had what they call shrinkage. Which
Sorry about that.
It's not what you think it is.
Sorry.
It's not the Seinfeld shrinkage. It's theft. You know, sometimes, you know, the women that worked there, they would like steal nail polish or stuff. They'd stick it in their bra. I mean, they couldn't help it. It was just some people are going to steal things, right? So, I came to find out that we had this ex-cop that worked for us, and he handled stock recovery. Okay, now I wasn't really involved in the process, but one time I was in my boss's office about something unrelated, and I overheard the call about security. The guy talked like a cross between Joe Friday and Barney Fife. He basically somebody had stolen some of our things and then was dumb enough to list where they lived on eBay. Selling.
Wow.
So it wasn't even out yet. So it's just really... So this is what I heard. At approximately 9:11 a.m., I approached the address listed by the suspect. 113 Old Bay Lane, Havre de Grace, Maryland. I noticed a gray 2009 Hyundai Sonata parked in front of the house. Upon checking said vehicle, I came upon 14 of the missing Hello Kitty Charmy eyeliner kits. These were recovered and have been returned to stock. It's hysterical. They kicked me out. I was like, no, I want to hear this. It was the only time I wanted to be in a meeting. I loved the way he talked. I never got to hear it again, though.
At 6:05, I was at the Giant. I opened the carton of eggs. Sadly, 3 had been manhandled and were cracked. So at 6:06, I opened up another one, and that one was okay. So I bought it.
The cracked eggs are in police custody. All right, let's play another song. This is Krigsgrav with The Black Oak. Let's talk about imperfect foods.
Our sponsor this week is Imperfect Foods. In fact, we have a shipment coming this week, although it's far less produce than we usually get. But if you don't have your own garden, they have great produce, fruits, mangoes, if you would, you know.
For Indian and non-Indian people.
They have eggs. They have meats, which are really quite tasty. They even have some that are already pre-seasoned.
Really good prices on meat compared to the grocery store.
Great prices. Yeah. And you know what? If it's only like us, it's 2 people. It's Cryovac sealed. It's a small portion. So, you know, you don't have waste. We don't have to eat, chicken wings all week because the only thing was available was a 300 pack.
Remember that time we had to do that?
Oh, God.
It's like wings for 50 or none.
So
I
yeah,
can't eat all these wings.
they have great cheeses, including cheddar.
The
They have,
habanero cheddar never lasts more than a day. We're all over that shit.
they have
Yeah.
some great goat cheeses. They've recently partnered with Misfit Markets, and they are soon expanding their line to even include wine and some other things that are
Don't
not
toy with
currently
my
available.
emotions. Mm.
All of this is delivered to your door as you save the planet, because you might be eating broken toffee covered almonds that, would be rejected on
I
some
mean, who
level.
would feed them? They could be eaten. Sorry.
So a lot of products that would never have seen the store shelves, you get to save. You save all that carbon. You shrink up your carbon footprint. You're doing a good thing for the planet, and you're saving water.
Make pencils out of it. I mean,
So use our link and get $20 off your first order. Over $60 ships free directly to your door.
okay, let's play the theme from Campfire.
Because streaming services are evil corporations that gatekeep bands from their fans and pay them pennies while collecting millions.
This is Campfire.
This week on Campfire, we're featuring the death thrash duo of Deathhammer from Hamar, Norway. Their site is deathhammer.bandcamp.com. Important to state that there's 2 H's as opposed to the Asphyx album. Deathhammer just has 1 for your Googling pleasure. 5 full lengths since the band formed back in 2005. Looks like all of them are available on the Bandcamp site, including the awesome looking Forever Ripping Fast compilation of early demos and super tasty looking green splatter vinyl.
2012's Onward to the Pit sounds like the reborn doppelganger for early Creator, Destruction, and Death Row.
Oh, yeah.
The drums sound great. Nothing fancy or processed, just pounding a simple kit into oblivion, while the vocals have a reverbed black metalish quality, which also adds to the raw witching vibe of the whole affair.
Of course, the Schmear Araya scream is utilized regularly, kind of like Vector. The best moments riff-wise are pure destruction worship like To the Evil, Voodoo Rites, and Final Black Mass. The duo is listed as Sergeant Salston and Sadomancer. They cover all the bases, from packaging to lyrics to logos to the singing bass player.
Isn't Sergeant Saston one of the Argonauts? Maybe I'm
don't know.
mistaken.
I don't know. It's also confusing.
All right. We're going to play a song, Seduced by the Flames.
Okay, getting back to Deathhammer, let's look at the latest release, 2022's Electric Warfare on Hell's Headbangers. It's just a type of metal that you may not hear for a long time, but as soon as it comes on, you realize you missed it. The bass playing is a little more noticeable on this one. Sergeant Solston actually does vocals, bass, and guitar. His growls and cuts like Crushing the Pearly Gates and Rapid Violence are reminiscent of the late, great Paul Bailoff from Exodus. It's incredible how raw but powerful it comes through, like he stepped back in time to 1985. I love the way that you see the upside down cross of the logo before you read it. It's genius, So get over to their Bandcamp page now and grab some of these crushing vinyls in a myriad of colors. No excuses, people.
All right, we're going to play a song. This is Warriors of Evil. So this is our interview with Cody from Krigsgrav. They have a number of offerings, really been into the Sundering, as well as Fires of the Fall. Amazing records, really good musicians here. Reminiscent, if you love Black Braid, you will love these guys. And who would have thought? Out of Texas.
Yeah. All right, so check it out. Here it is.
So, first thing when we scout out bands, we just listen, and I like to run and just listen to random things. And you guys so impressed the both of us.
Right.
And we're like, they got to be Swedish. Look at the name, look at the artwork, listen to that music. They're Swedish. They're
Right.
not Swedish.
Yeah, we're surprised. Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah.
So how did this wonderful melodic black metal end up coming from Texas?
We're we're all just huge fans of black metal and have been for a long time, and extreme metal, and we've been playing together in our separate bands in the scene for a long time, and they've had Krigsgrav for a while, and I joined in, and we kind of they were doing their own thing, like Justin and David. Krigsgrav was kind of way more, as they were doing a doomier thing for the album before I joined, and then I joined, and we kind of, I guess, kicked the energy with some melodic metal, kind of dissection, kind of vein, and that's kind of how we landed where we are.
Yeah.
With this current sound, because they've had a lot of different sounds throughout the years, going back way before I joined. But
yeah, what part of Texas are you guys from? Dallas area or Fort Worth? Or
I am in Dallas. David lives a little north of Fort Worth, and Justin is from Belton, which is close to Austin. We don't exactly live, in the same city, but we're all from here, and Justin grew up here, and so
I don't know, maybe I've just seen too many like Bill Hicks documentaries, but every time I see a black metal band from Texas, I think of like Bill Hicks talking about. I picture like the guy from Absu getting his ass kicked by rednecks, in corpse paint. I guess things have evolved since then.
We would hope.
It's pretty. Dallas is, because Dallas Fort Worth is a metroplex. It's so huge. We're kind of blessed with a really good scene. We got a lot of death metal, a lot of black metal, and just it's a pretty good culture here. I mean, maybe you go outside the city in a smaller town, people kind of look at you a little sideways, but here it's great.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had to corpse paint it up and be playing like a Mexican biker bar or something like that?
Oh well, yeah. I would the one of the most long-standing metal bars in Dallas is actually a biker bar. It's funny enough, but we don't. I've only corpse painted up for Halloween. I've always kind of like, I'm not from Scandinavia in the 90s. I'm like, it's just not as genuine if I do it. That's how I feel. Like, no hate to anyone who does corpse paint, but
right.
I'm like, I gotta just that I can't do that.
I did him up once. We were doing this promo piece, and we were like for the show, and he was like 20 minutes in, he's like, I want to itch my whole face. How do people do this?
Yeah, it just wasn't for me. I don't know how you could perform like that. Oh,
you touch your face, it's just,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's getting in your hair. It's like, okay.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
and then here in Texas especially, it's so hot. If you have it on and you're playing, it's the sweat, it's just gonna start running off.
So I heard a story that David actually came up with the idea of this band because his school was evacuated due to a bomb threat and he had some extra time. Is that true?
Yeah, that's the story. Because when we have bomb threats, at my school at least, everybody's evacuated to go sit in the stadium football stands, and we just sit there while they sweep the whole school. And the story is he was sitting out there with his friend, and it's like, I want to start this band, like this black metal, but he doesn't do vocals, like harsh vocals. He's an amazing singer, but so he asked his friend to do vocals, and they just kind of started out there.
When you guys play live, does David play bass or does he play drums?
He plays drums.
Drums. I'll tell you what, the drum sound, I know this is more a question for him, but the last couple albums of drum sound has just become huge. Did he do anything in particular to change that you know of? Or
so recording drums for him, we never used like a studio, so it's kind of like a mobile recording. So I'm not sure what he does as far as tuning his drums.
Right.
He just goes and plays. We just send it off to the last two albums to Finland to get it mixed, and Wolf's Throne Studios. Dude does an incredible job. It's really him. Just the mixing has been.
That must be it. The way
awesome.
He's mixing.
He's.
I went back and listened to the early stuff, and then I listened to the new stuff, and I was like, God, the drums are huge on these. There's this new stuff. So.
Yeah, and earlier stuff was more self-recorded, and it's like a lot younger. You don't have access to the equipment.
Oh yeah.
I've been able to afford it yet, and so it's really just us, kind of growing up and being able to have means to get something better, a better product.
Yeah.
So when you first started, you were just like touring partners. How did that evolve into becoming a permanent member?
Well, so the first time I played with Krigsgrav, it was their CD release for I don't know. I played two of them. It might have been Carrion Fields and the one before that. I'm blanking on the name right now, but you know, they asked me to play because we played in bands together, and I was like, yeah. And I learned it. I played that show, and then we wanted to go on tour with my other band, John of the Mountain, and then Krigsgrav. Justin, you know, he couldn't get off work, you know, and leave his family to go on this big 21-day tour. So I was like, I'll just fill in for him again, you know, just do vocals and guitar. And we had Corey, Wes, you know, doing bass and guitars, David on drums, and I just filled in for Justin. You know, wasn't contributing musically, but then after that tour and you know other stuff, I mean, eventually years later, it was just David and Justin, and they were like, "Why don't we get Cody in and have another guitar again?" And they invited me, and of course, I'd been saying for years I'd love to be a part of Krigsgrav, and so that's how it kind of happened.
Were you the last two like contributing towards the writing at this point?
See, yeah, I would say there's about 3 songs, and I wrote music for, and then 2 or 3 that I've done lyrics for. So yeah, I'm contributing, and every song they like kind of just hand me like this is what we were thinking, and then I kind of do my thing and make it, you know, my own a little bit, and I'll throw in ideas. I do all my solos, of course, but
Right.
yeah, they do most of the heavy lifting, but I'm definitely in there, you know, helping out.
Their solos are amazing. Did they come kind of like after, like they give you like a few ideas and then or do you already kind of have something in mind?
All the solos, I would say, well, for the songs that they write a song and then they're like, you know, this section right here at this time in the song, we're thinking of Cody solo, so just do your thing. And then they just point out which riff to solo over and when, and maybe like kind of if they're like do it, like maybe if they have an idea for how they want the solo to sound, maybe. But for the most part, I just go at it.
Really, really good.
Yeah,
And
really.
you're in a lot of projects too. Are you still in tons of other projects as well? And
I mean, I have a few, yeah. Mostly, I mean, Giant of the Mountain was my band for years. We're not really active at the moment. We're not broken up, but we're just not really doing much. My other band, Argonauts, that's the one that I'm busy with. Like, I got practice later tonight. We play live all the time, way more than Krigsgrav. And then the others are kind of just internet projects that we send music and don't really get together, jam, or perform. But
What kind of metal is Argonauts? What kind of music is it?
Well, we call ourselves space metal, but it's kind of it's very theatrical. We have props and we're costumes and characters, and it's
awesome.
Space themed, and it's kind of like Devin Townsend and Meshuggah ish, but still it's more accessible. It's really fun.
That's a show. Yeah.
you get pyrotechnics involved?
Yeah, well, not actual fire, but we do have, you know, like a CO2 gun that looks like fire, and we got all kinds of. We're just trying to come up with a bunch of problems. We got like silly string guns and bubble cannons, and
that's great.
It's a whole show. Yeah.
Throw a little bit of glitter on the drums. That always works well.
Yeah, you know, lights, anything we can.
Anything you can do. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I had a question. So, and you might not know this, but your first 2 records, the Leviathan Crown and Lux Capita Est, they're not on Spotify. That usually means there's like a licensing problem. Do you know why they're not on there? Or does he just hate the records?
So those were no. It definitely doesn't hate it. I think it's more just they haven't paid to get it on there because it was self-released. So there's no, you know, issues with contracts or anyone else, but you know, it's David. We're, you know, we're planning on, you know, redoing Luke's Cup to Est at some point, releasing it again. But no, those are I would actually, if you'd have asked me, are those on Spotify, I would probably just said, yeah, probably, because I haven't looked. But
no, not yet.
We're on there. But no, there's no issues with them. You know, those are still great albums, great songs.
I checked them out, but I had to go to YouTube to hear them. So yeah.
Yeah. No, you know, we still stand by those for sure.
Cool. Yeah, but I've asked that question before and had bands say, "Oh my God, forget that album ever existed." So that's why,
Yeah, I got some like that in my back catalog, but
so
I
you can
wouldn't,
relate. You can relate.
yeah, I wouldn't consider those anything like that.
That's funny.
I really love the cover art on this one. It just immediately said druid to me with the fires and the woods and the
I
cape.
said the Wicker Man. But
Yeah.
Very
No,
different than the Sundering, because that looked more like a apocalyptic city type.
Yeah.
Of
yeah, that's I mean, it's very. I feel the same way. I love the cover. They did such a good job, like with getting the artist and really conveying what we wanted.
Do you use different guys each time, or like how do you pick?
I think if we're working with somebody that we really like, we'll stick with them. Or if we're like, we kind of think we want this style, and maybe go with a different artist for a different feel. Not necessarily because we're not happy with the last artist. Maybe we just want somebody who can create a certain feel that is different from what another one is. But
we kind of lucked out. The guy who does our artwork, we found out that he's actually just really bored all the time. So he's always like entering contests and stuff. So anytime I ask him to do anything, the next morning he's like, "Here you go," and it's awesome. And I'm just like, "Wow, we're so lucky." He never charges us.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if you find somebody that works, it's good to keep with them.
I know exactly. I was so surprised that we really lucked out on that. Except most of what he draws has to have tits on it. He's got a thing for tits. So it's like, could you draw this? It doesn't really have tits. And he'll be like, "I'll try." So.
He's great.
Yeah.
So, did the title of Fires in the Fall come from that Robert Louis Stevenson poem? Because that's the only thing I could find that was close.
Yeah, that's where the title came from, and that's something Justin was inspired by, and it really the whole like concept and feel like Justin. I think Justin was the one who really took that direction and like championed that the feel and the concept of the album. And I haven't read the poem. I know that it is from that though, but it's just about the fall is. It's like we have Halloween, we got Christmas, like we celebrate in the fall, and it's inspiring, and it's also like mysterious, like I don't know. Yeah. It's the album. I mean, and it's not a concept album where everything runs, it's all one story, but it does all kind of revolve around that feeling of the veil being thinner in the fall.
Oh, definitely. Halloween, I think, is one of my favorite holidays ever. Mostly because you don't have to do much.
Yeah, I mean, we have like a whole week to celebrate it.
So, some favorite tracks, of course. I thought that this Fires in the Fall had a little bit more epic feel than the Sundering. Was the writing process any different, or just the thematics called for a little bit more theatrical?
I would say the writing process was pretty much the same. Like we all just, a song will come to us and we'll finish it out. Like one of us writes a whole song and then sends it to the group, and we'll, maybe we'll be like, okay, let's maybe do this at this part and kind of come to a consensus on how it should sound. But that's how the Sundering was too. We all just, we'll all write songs and we'll throw them all up and put them on the table and be like, which ones make the album? Which ones, what ideas, what do we need to work on to make this one fit better, that didn't change. It's just I guess we did the Sundering and we got that out of our system, and then what we were just feeling was whatever happened on Fires in the Fall.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think it's really cool. You guys have this knack. You have long songs, but the album's not long. Like in this era of 90-minute Iron Maiden albums, it's great to see some brevity with epic songs. Like, do you guys ever look at that and go, "We got to cut this out. This is too long"? Do you ever how do you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we try to edit ourselves a little bit, because I mean, we like not everything that we wrote made it up on this album,
Right.
But that's a good thing, because even some some riffs are just we love them when we write them, but when you get it on tape and it's just, maybe it's a little boring or it doesn't fit, maybe it's for later. But we just got to make one package, the best package we can be. And 90 minutes is a long time to just sit down and listen to something. You got to think about like the average attention span of someone, even if you like to listen to albums, like after a while, you're going to kind of drift off or think about something. And, you know, I like to make that impact. And then before you get bored of it, you know, kind of end it.
Someone's got to tell Hetfield that, you know, someone's got to tell Steve Harris that. Come on, dude, you know.
Yeah. A lot of these
12-minute songs. Give me a break, you know. It's like,
you know, it's like a lot of albums like that. It's like this album could have been really great if you'd have just left a few tracks off of it, you know. And this could have been just bam.
Right. I mean, I see 45 minutes. That's like a breath of fresh air. That's like the music I grew up on, you know, where you couldn't make an album an hour and a half long, you know.
Right. You know. We'll also, you know, we wanted to do vinyl, and there is a time limit on that. And so, you know, we're like, okay, this is what we'll shoot for this, so we don't go over. But, you know, we'll also, if the music called for it, we would go over. You know, just worked out.
So I love When I'm Gone, Let the Wolves Come. It's so melodic for days, and it almost has like a tribal battle hymn feel without drifting into what my AI computer. You ever use the AI DJ on Spotify?
I have not. I actually didn't know they had one.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I was out running the other day, and he just announced randomly, all right, there's a vibe, and this vibe is pirate metal. And I was like, what? And I was good for about a song and a half. I'm like, okay. But this one doesn't drip there at all, but it still has like a tribal feel to it. Was it based on like any kind of folk song, or was it just a natural melody?
I mean, really, that's like folk metal. It has a big influence on all of us. So I wouldn't say that, you know, it wasn't my song. So I don't know if they had a specific like song they were trying to go for a vibe of, but I think it's just the influence that we have throughout our musical careers. We just vibe with that, and we just I don't know, I think a riff came up and it was that vein, and it was like, let's do that, and just kind of stuck with it and wrote a song around it, you know. That's how most of it.
Incidentally, I fired my AI DJ when he played 2 Paul McCartney songs, not 1, 2.
Okay,
so I gave him his virtual walking papers and his virtual cardboard box. Yeah, I sent him virtually walking.
Yeah, I like pirate metal every now and then, just not a block of it.
Yeah, it's, you know, a little bit goes a long way.
I was like, okay, we're done with whiskey in the bottom of the ocean for right now.
Yeah, well, I'll stay away from my AI then on Spotify.
Yeah.
Another favorite track of ours had to be Shadowlands. It just starts so murky, and then it just kind of builds. You know, I love that. The tempo changes. Do you find yourselves using those tempo changes to kind of create a story or a feel?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, you want to start off with like, you can just feel how it is, and then you're like, you know, you're ready to ramp it up, like something is happening. It's like the melody tells its own story, like the rhythms and the melodies, and without the lyrics at all being involved, you could tell a story. And that's absolutely a tool we use, you know, changing the tempo and just to give a different feel and really tell the story of the song.
Yeah, I love the first song on the album, the way that it ends, where all those layers fall away, and it's just that one acoustic playing that.
Yeah.
And you realize that that's the backbone of the song. Really, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great moment.
Yeah, it turned out really good.
It's also kind of neat the way I didn't realize, you know, until I listened with headphones on, that there's David's clean vocals in there. I didn't hear it at first, but it's neat the way. How did you guys decide to come up with that? Because it's such a neat. It's so subtle, but it adds like a lot of layers.
Well, David's singing parts are kind of the same way my solos are. It's like, okay, we're imagining David clean vocals right here, and then he'll be like, all right, I got you, and he'll go whip it up and send it to us, and we're like, perfect. And then when we're doing the mix with sending back and forth in the studio, we're like, okay, maybe a little lower or bring it up louder. And that's just what when we were listening to the previews of the mix, the volume of the vocals. That's what we thought sounded great. And David just, I think he did all those vocals in a day, and they just got perfect. Yeah, he just fucking whipped it out, and it was great. Yeah, he's a
All right.
great.
Well, we play a game on the show. This game. The game is called Blaspheming Monikers.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to give you, I believe it's 5. Yeah, 5 band names from the Metal Archives. One of them is fake. You just guess which one is fake. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's process of elimination, so you can keep.
Yeah.
guessing
So
if
if
you
you
get
if you just keep guessing until you get it right, or until we run out of bands, I guess. So okay. All right. First, Mad Muppets. Second, Sadistic Lobotomy. Number 3, the Anal Treatment XX Experience. Mozart on Crack. So that's 1, 2, 3. It's just 4. All right, so 4.
Mozart on Crack.
Let me see. I think they're real. Yeah, they're real. They're electronic metal from Australia. They have one album from 04 and one EP from 05.
The Muppets. What was the Muppets one?
Mad Muppets.
Mad Muppets.
No, they're real. They're a thrash band from Switzerland. They have 2 mid-90s demos, so they don't have a lot, but
Maybe they got the crazy baker note that goes. No.
The second one sounded real to me. It's about lobotomy.
Sadistic Lobotomy.
Yeah, but let's guess that one since the other one.
Yeah, good job. That's the fake one. Yeah.
See, that one sounded real. That sounds like a death metal band.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Death metal band. You know.
Yeah, that's the key. Like the ones that I make up are usually not that ridiculous. Yeah. So, and then the other one was the Anal Treatment XX Experience. They're actually from Greece. They play grindcore, and they have a full length called Inhuman Anal Exploration.
See, I thought that one was going to be real.
It's so hard. You just that random band generator. I could just do that for hours. Just can't believe the names that some of these bands come up with. You know,
I know. Yeah. It's hard. You know, you think you come up with a good name, you search it, and it's like, God, there's already 4 of those.
There's that, and then there's the other thing that I really like is when I do the random band generator thing on Metal Archives is when everybody dressed up except Larry. You know what I mean? Where everybody's corpse paint or whatever, and one guy's not. He's like just wearing like a Misfits t-shirt or something. He's like, I didn't know that I was supposed to dress up. I love it.
Yeah.
It's like my high school yearbook picture from the cross country team. Somebody forgot their uniform, and I'm in a Great Adventure t-shirt.
Yeah, actually, you know what the best example of that is, I think, is if you ever really look at the Black Sabbath album, Sabotage, right?
Yeah.
The one with the mirror. That's pure Spinal Tap, because like Tony Iommi sits down, he's so pissed off. Ozzy's in costume, the other 2 aren't, and you could just tell you're like, wow, there's a story here, you know.
Yes,
something happened, you know. Yeah.
I think at that point they were like, just take the picture.
That's why Spinal Tap's so great, because shit like that actually happened, you know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that's all like based on real events.
All based on real life. Yeah.
So do you know how he came up with Wargrave in Swedish as the name?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. So I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, he was in Norway for Inferno, their Inferno festival. And he was just watching TV in the hotel, and they said something about, it was like a documentary, and they were talking about war graves, and they said Krigsgrav, I guess. And he was like, oh, all right. That's a cool band name.
He had to go to Scandinavia to pick it up. Great.
I could be wrong. That might have been in the States, but I feel like that's the story.
Okay. Yeah. I love the logo. It's just hairy enough, but you can still read it, you know. It's not really good.
Yeah, that was they got that done by the guy who does all the logos. His name's like Christoph. I can't pronounce his last name. I would have to look at it, but you know, he does so many famous bands logos. But they got him good. They put, you know, so he is the Lord of the Logos.
Lord of the Logos. Yeah.
I love your ladies' leggings. I was already coveting them.
It's all about the merch.
Yeah.
I always have to go through and stalk everybody's merch. Usually I end up getting it. So, what touring plans do you have coming up, if any, if you know of?
We have a show first time in over a year in September, kind of in Houston area, at Southern Star Brewing, and that's really it. It's hard to tour because they both have kids and everything, and I would love to hit the road, of course, but it's a little harder for us. We don't live close, so we don't gig a lot, but we do want to play live, and we are feeling the itch.
Yeah.
I was hopeful. I saw years ago you had come to Baltimore and played the Depot, so I was like, hey, maybe there's
yeah, that was a great time. Yeah, that was 2016. That was that tour I filled in on. So I was double duty every night. That was a great tour. I would absolutely love to do that again.
If you could make a lineup, like a fantasy lineup for you guys and maybe like 3 other bands, and they can be existing or non-existing, who would you put with you guys to go out on a crazy tour? No holds barred.
I would say I would definitely want to go on tour with Falls Auroros because we played with them, and they're we hung out with them, had a great time. That'd just be a very fun tour, and they're a great band. There's there's so many bands that would be great. Enslaved, just dream bands. Enslaved, Emperor, of course those bands. Let's see, who would be more niche, like more like us, like Woods of Ypres. That would be a dream band to go on tour with. That's one of my all-time favorite bands. Absolutely.
Yeah, those are all good choices.
Yeah, that ever-flowing vessel really made me think of Black Braid with you guys. It's just and I saw, you even posted, I think, on Facebook about he's just amazing. We're hoping to catch
John also did not do well on blaspheming monikers, just so you know. He was on the show.
Yeah, that would be
that the REO rape wagon was not real, and sadly there is a band called that.
That's a creative name.
Right, exactly. Like right to FM radio,
All right, yeah. Yeah, Black Wave would be a great one to go on tour with as well.
Yeah, I could definitely hear that running through that song. I was like, wow.
I would definitely say that we have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
Those two bands for sure.
So outside of, do you think you guys will? I know this just came out, fall in the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
you just have such a prolific discography. I can definitely see you guys doing more. So hopefully we'll lure you out onto the road a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to, and they've already, I got messages probably a week after this released. Well, I know it's early, but I've already started on a song, and they're already writing. Right.
I believe it. Yeah.
Just never stops. But
how far out does Argonaut? Is it Argonauts?
Yeah.
How far out do they go? Do you guys ever come to the East Coast?
We haven't yet, but we would love to.
I'm suddenly intrigued by this band. Yeah.
Argonauts is definitely more likely to be on tour, I would say. We play live all the time, at least once a month, and we're working on new music too. But yeah, I would love to tour.
That's cool.
Argonauts for sure. It is a fun time.
Who do you have on repeat right now on your Spotify playlist?
I don't want to butcher the name. I would say, here, let me look at it. So I got it right here.
Okay.
So I don't say it too wrong. Blue Tar. Let me try reading it. Because Blood Tar, I would say Blodtar. It's incredible. Okay. Just came out this year, and Fimbulvet.
Okay.
Another great album, and I've been listening to a lot of some speed metal stuff. Air Raid and Enforcer did some pretty good stuff this year so far. Vomitory has been great. I've been Vomitory. Very happy that they're putting stuff out again. Yeah, that's
so much good music coming out.
So much good music.
Yeah. Yeah, I try, every Friday when music comes out to go through all the lists on the sites and see what looks like I might want and put it on my playlist. But I don't get around to it as often as I wish I could. But I've still gotten to some great
What's
releases.
that one Enforcer album? Was it Dirty Diamonds or Diamond Nights or whatever? God, that's such a great record.
Actually, I hadn't really listened to Enforcer.
Oh yeah,
This came out and I was like, oh, check that out.
They have
And I'm
so
like,
many
wow.
good albums. Yeah,
Yeah. So now I need to go back and
they're
check
like
them
a band that they're like Frozen in Amber. Like they could have been around in like 87, 97,
Yeah.
07. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, if you told me they'd been around since the 80s, I'd be like, oh, I believe you.
Exactly. Yeah.
They
It
still
seems
look
like,
great.
yeah, they got the look, they got the sound.
Well, I tell you, with band names, we did this for our rock and roll show, this band from Italy, and we actually did a small piece on them before we interviewed her. And we thought the band's name, because it kind of runs together, was It's Alley.
Mm-hmm.
And when we interviewed her, their band's name is It's a Lie.
Oh,
there's no way to know, though.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, it's hard.
Pronunciation.
Half the band names I think I'm pronouncing wrong. I just gotta like hope that I see them live and they're like, all right, we're so and so, and I'm like, that's how you say it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really hard, because like I can write the review for a band, like especially if they're like from France or something.
Yeah.
And you can't go online and find out how to pronounce it right.
Right.
So then when you say it, you're thinking, do I sound like an idiot? Saying this
Yeah,
wrong?
maybe
There's no check and balance for it,
I've gone and tried to YouTube interviews with the band, hoping that
Right.
they say it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Tell us how to say your name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, I guess there's worse problems in the world,
Well, thank you so much for doing this. We love, I've loved getting into your back catalog. I love everything you've done that's on Spotify so far. So keep it up and think about touring. Maybe we'll be there.
I'm gonna go check out Argonauts.
I'm all about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try to push them into playing live a little.
The sounds of decay!
Okay, Sounds of Decay 1, take it away. The band is J.O.
J.O.
J.O. The album is Nest of Veins.
Have you ever been instrojected?
Oh, do tell.
Yes, it's a word.
Yes, it is now.
You excitedly put on a lightning bolt or a Zappa song for someone, and after about a minute, they crinkle up their nose and say, "There's no singing."
When's the singing?
Sing.
When's the singing stuff?
Then you shove them into the swimming pool. Fairly common occurrence, and it takes a brave artist to decide to release music sans vocals to a boutique-sized audience.
Enter J.O. a three-piece instrumental band from Toronto with several singles and now 2 full lengths under their belt. Nest of Veins is 38 minutes of angular guitars, odd time signatures, metallic riffing, and the occasional jazzy melody. There's obviously a lot of varied influences in the sonic stew, from post-hardcore dissonance to alt-metal crunch to post-rock reverberations and everything in between.
The songs are remarkably hooky for the style, built on the ever-shifting percussion of Spencer Robson, deftly skating across cymbals, rolling heavy over toms, and occasionally shifting into pure thrash snare abuse. Cantiga 166 opens with a series of bluesy guitar drones before Robson moves into a very rush-like tempo, guitarists cycling through at least 4 fascinating riff changes, zigzagging from channel to channel like Tool at their trippiest.
Tree of Tenere is nearly 7 minutes of tempo shifts from bell-like atmospherics to all-out racing thrash. Very impressive, particularly considering this only a trio creating such a complex and multi-layer instrumentals. Fans of Don Caballero or the other bands I've been yammering on about could do much worse than to check out this latest album from J.O. So let's play a song. This is the title track, Nest of Veins.
Sounds of Decay 2. This is Pupil Slicer with Blossom.
Ophthalmology metal.
I must admit, I'm no expert on female fronted metalcore.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
But this latest release from UK's Pupil Slicer, another quality slab of 2023 UK extreme metal,
What the heck's going on over there?
has inspired a crash course in the genre, which I'm subjected to as well.
Yes.
It's actually quite good. This quartet's second full length is a rock opera of the cosmic horror variety, focused on abject despair, reincarnation, and hell.
Led by the charismatic vocalist guitarist Kate S. Davies, the Slicers bounce through fits of warp speed, snare attacks, scowly screaming, ambient interludes, bonkers brilliant riffs, and the occasional clean vocal from Kate. This music is converged for the next generation. The band's jump scare transitions and unpredictable tempos are the perfect soundtrack for the modern ADHD propagation of metal fans.
This is exciting stuff, from Luke Fabian's cool bass breakdown and creating the devil in our image to the mellow shoegazy melody that introduces the song at creation's end. It's just the perfect music to charging up a steep hill against the driving rain or lifting barbells that are just a little too heavy for your scrawny frame.
Songs are short and the tempo change is unpredictable. We get a glimpse of Kate's beautiful, clean voice laced over the insanity of terminal lucidity. But for my money, the keeper is the percussively violent closer, Blossom, with clean versus scream vocals, bruising bass lines, and taser zap guitar work. Immerse yourself in Blossom, and eventually your playlist, like mine, will be dominated by monikers like Closet Witch and See You Space Cowboy. So here's a song. This is Departure in Solitude.
Sounds of Decay 3. Incantation, Unholy Deification. This will drop August 25th, 2023. You have to admire the consistency of Incantation. Over the band's 24-plus year existence, John McEntee has endured lineup changes. The Metal Archives actually lists pages of drummers, singers, bass players, and label changes. But remarkably, the band's sound has remained largely intact.
Unholy Deification is their 13th album since forming in the late 80s. It's an ambitious concept album with lyrics written by bass player Chuck Sherwood. Unsurprisingly, UD is a carnival of color and noise. 40 minutes of John's patented harmonic squeals, dissonant harmonies, ugly doom segments, and crushing percussion.
It's quite an interesting read lyrically. Sherwood was looking to capture the spirit of the Italian Renaissance with dark poetry of mankind's encounters with a demonic entity. It reads like a cross between the Old Testament and a Clive Barker novel. Passages like eons of evil in each scale, fangs, horns, hooves, and tail. Chitonic scourge sings lashing life to leathered wings.
Wow, that's heavy stuff. But don't join the book club just yet. This is still brutal death metal of the highest quality. The crawling stops and starts at the tail end of Altar, Unify, and Carnage are stupefyingly heavy. There's actually a piano intro to Megaron. First goat horn, now these guys. But the band is soon blasting away in typical Christ-trouncing manner.
Circle includes gang vocals from Jeff Becerra of Possessed, Henry Vigian, Revenant, and a current Morbid Angel guitarist, Dan Vadum. Love that name. Very commanding. Yeah. I would go with Invocation Catonic Merge 10 as the album's highlight. Despite its brevity, it's a high watermark for the band's speed and power. Take a gander at that cover art to get a true idea of the vastness of this album's dark concept.
So let's play a song. This is Homunculus, Spirit Made Flesh 9. That was quite a show. We talked about plastic surgery. Talked about maybe Maryland's coolest indoor playground.
We talked about my review on A Bag of Rocks.
And strange handwritten signs.
Yeah. I always wondered about the fact that they have to have a sign at the jacuzzi that says no diving, no shit.
This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to Cody from Krigsgrav for appearing on the show. Be sure to head over to the Bandcamp page and grab a copy of Fires in the Fall today. Snaggletooth theme, courtesy of Gustav Jord of Defleshed. Season 3 artwork by Casey Angel. Sounds of Decay theme by Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Decay bands, check them out. Incantation, Pupil Slicer, J-O-Day. All content 2023, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
Extreme husband murdering, not leaving a trace weapon.
Extreme husband murdering, not leaving a trace. Okay.
Yeah, then you just eat it.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.